Hello everyone. I was just writing an article on the presence of mind or the presence of mind. And this is something that I keep coming back to in my daily life is how many of the people I know, especially in my surroundings, are not really aware of their own lives. And I don't mean due to a condition, I just mean that they're usually so distracted and in their heads that they don't even notice the stressors that are occurring. And it's my own belief that many of them have come into assisted living because even when they were in excellent health, they didn't pay attention to what their activities were doing to them. They just kind of plowed through and went, I'm going to have fun. Or I'm going to do this no matter what. I'm going to drink 14 cans of pop a day. And there are people that do that. And in that case, of course, diabetes just goes, hello, and, things just go downhill. And I think one of the biggest assets in my life is that, and I'm going to tell you a story that I've never let publicly be known before, and this might be a bit of a long video, so I hope YouTube doesn't mind, and I hope you don't mind, but I've got cerebral palsy, and everyone knows that. It's a type of brain damage that results in stiff muscles. You have fine motor coordination, but you have to work at it, and it affects different people in various different ways. There's like 3 or 4 different subsets. Anyway, all this sort of means that your body reacts, and then your brain kind of kicks in and goes, oh shit, what happened? And one of the things that goes on is that when I have to urinate, if I am not very clued in, body will go, hey, I really have to go. And it becomes kind of a battle, because I have to try to stay relaxed so that I can do what I need to do, and it can get quite iffy sometimes, especially if I've distracted myself and body's been going, hey, I need to go, we need to stop what we're doing. And when I was a teenager, I didn't have that awareness that I needed to pay attention to what was going on with me. And as a result, I would get into these tremendous long spasms, and sometimes it didn't work out too well, and so socially that was kind of embarrassing. And as you can imagine, when I was about 16, I remember thinking, what's the point in this? Why am I going through this agony every single day, 2 or 3 times a day? And yet, I knew something was in my control, because if my sister came up and spoke loudly, not angrily, but loudly, sort of shocked me out of my autopilot, I would calm down, things would go back to normal, and I could do what I needed to do. And that was the first inkling of, hey, pay attention, listen. And as a result, I ended up at one point going to a psychologist, and we developed a routine. And it wasn't focused on that aspect so much as it was focused on paying attention. And part of that actually was to develop a routine so that I made sure I didn't wait too long. But it was all about paying attention, being aware, and kind of checking in with yourself. More than checking in, actually, because it was the key is to be open to impulses from your body or your psyche or any aspect of you, to be prepared to listen, to be prepared to realize that sometimes the messages aren't super clear. The person you portray externally probably is considerably different than all the drives that are going on within everybody, right? You think you like this, but in reality you might like that or some other thing in another way, or you might dislike an activity more than you realize, right? That may be the start of procrastination, but the key is to pay attention to these signals, right? And take 2 or 3 times a day and just sort of stop and go, let's look around, let's check out what's going on, and how am I feeling? How are you feeling? And be honest. And again, keep yourself open to the fact that the answers you get may be sort of encoded in other little answers. So it may not be straightforward, particularly if there's something that you don't want to deal with, okay? Because your subconscious may go, I gotta get the message out, but if I say it directly, upstairs will censor it. It'll try to redact it. So how can I slide this message in? And frequently that's when the emotions come into play, and so forth and so on. The other thing I see a lot of nowadays is people getting very angry, or all their emotions are over the top, right? And to me, that always speaks of you've been repressing them, or you've been holding them back, or ignoring them, which is probably the worst thing you can do, I think, in my book. And I gotta say at this point that these are all personal perceptions from my point of view. I am not a professional in any sense of the word. This is just 63 years worth of life speaking out. And you are more than welcome to counter or talk with me or debate. But I think the art of listening to one's self is being lost a bit, and we need to kind of get back to that, because I think when we listen to ourselves, we automatically then begin to become aware of the wider world, and thereby we listen to others a little bit more, and we become happier. Again, I don't want to. Happy and joyful, those words are overused. They don't. People throw them around a lot, and I think what I want to say is, you'll know you're on the right track when you feel more synced up or attuned to yourself, that there's less conflicts in your way. You will feel more okay with your surroundings. I think that's the goal, is to kind of go, okay, I've been listening to myself, even if you don't understand it. Because the smarter you are, by the way, the more bullshit you'll tend to put out. And by bullshit, I don't mean so much negative. I mean, messages may be coaxed in one, or covered in an alternate phrase. So and you just kind of have to work with it. But the first step is to be aware of what's going on with you, and I think when you do that, and when it becomes a ongoing process, you overall are more healthy. Here am I at 63 years old, and I don't do any drugs. And it's not because of some puritanical, I shall not do drugs kind of thing. It's, I don't have a need to do it. I don't have a desire to do it. As a matter of fact, when my friends all said, including my beloved sister, everybody said, Patrick, you got cerebral palsy, you got CP, your muscles are stiff, you should at least try some pot, right? It will relax you. And so I thought, okay, I'll try some pot. And the first time I tried it, I was with a dear friend, Kim, and we were out in our patio. And aside from the fact my lungs went, what is he doing breathing in this smoke? Once I got over that, and the pot took effect, I found it the most boring drug in the world. Like, really dull. And so I told my friend this, and we yacked for a bit. Maybe we got a bad batch. So a couple months go down the road. I try another one. Same effect, and I felt I felt actually stupid and more removed. And as far as relaxed, well, I was relaxed all right, but I wasn't able to enjoy it because it was not me. It kind of this 30-something IQ version of Patrick just sort of came out, and so I thought, okay, we tried it twice. Maybe it's not for me. And a little while goes by, and my friend comes by. How about some edibles? They have a different effect. And I thought, what the heck? Let's give it a whirl. So I got a nice big cookie, and munched away. Same dull kind of effect. And it was after that it dawned on me why it didn't work for me. Wasn't that it wasn't working, it was that pot and other drugs, and I have a story about LSD, but I don't want this to turn into a movie, take me away. The very part of me that I really enjoy, which is the part you're seeing now, kind of the thoughtful, creative, slightly whacked out guy, it takes that away. And when I first moved into here, one of the tenants said, well, that's the whole point of pot. It's supposed to stop you thinking. It's supposed to dumb you down a bit. And that's what you're supposed to enjoy. And I thought, are you crazy? So short answer was that pot doesn't work for me. Not because it doesn't work, but it takes away, it interferes with that very essence of me being me. So I can understand drugs for altering your perception. Like I said a moment ago, LSD was interesting for the first hour, and then it was kind of okay, I got it. Bored. Not really bored, but I wanted to be me again. Boy, was I in for a surprise, because it took 2 days to come down. And I didn't take that much, but I have a low drug tolerance anyway, so a little dab will do you for a long time. Anyway, so I like being present. And I think if more people take the time to do that, I think a lot of physical and emotional ills would disappear. Or at least you'd have a better handle on them when you needed assistance, right? I don't want to come off as puritanical and all-knowing, because believe me, I'm not. And but I think we need to get interested in ourselves and not keep going for solutions, external solutions, or even internal ones that are from someone else. I think it needs to, your reality needs to be homegrown by you, and only through the exploration of a lifetime do you really get it. And I think for me, one of the greatest gifts that I ever received was the fact that I got CP, because I can't imagine being normal. And before this runs on too much longer, what I mean by that is, if I were born normal, then I wouldn't have had the issues that I had to deal with. And in a way, those issues forced me to look outside of the normal boundaries, outside of the normal disabled boundaries even. And I could do another video on that topic alone, but and I think adversity has a purpose, as long as it's something that can be processed. Something that is overwhelming right away is pointless, because that just destroys the person. But a little salt and pepper with adversity in it does help to expand a person's horizons. And I think that is a message that everyone needs to know, because I think young people need to know a little bit of challenge that's real, not always planned either, because the world isn't planned. So it's got to be a little bit of challenge that is the real McCoy. And I think the CP gave me that. And I mean, when I was 16, I was so frustrated about the spasms and that it was really, I was driven to look. But I remember standing in the hallway at one point at home going, why? What is this? Well, now I get it. And I'm thankful that I got it. And as a result, I've had, I think, one of the best lives on the planet. It may be short, it may be long, who knows? But I mean, I think that's it. So be present, look around, try to avoid autopilot unless it serves a purpose, and listen to yourself, listen to those emotions. And if it's overwhelming, then seek out help with someone, and don't be afraid to ask for it. Everybody's different. There is no such thing as normal. There is no such thing as okay. Mind you, there's no such thing as not okay. Some part of everyone is okay somewhere. If you're breathing and functioning, there's that part that's okay. So, with that, I will let this 20 minute babble session go. And again, I'm going to post it to my blog, and Google will have a fit, or YouTube will have a fit when they see the size of this thing, because I always upsample it to 4K, mainly because the first time I did it, that was accidental, and I realized, hey, it doesn't look too bad at all. So I thought, for consistency, I'll just keep upsampling it. It's from a decent high-def camera anyway, so there you go. But have a good day, and I'm going to post this to my blog in an article called The Presence of Mind, and it'll also be available on YouTube. Okay, bye-bye everyone.